Hey, welcome to this week's episode of Scrap Talk. I'm Ross Litz, and this is Kip Brown.
Hey guys.
Thanks for joining us today. So, in our prior episodes, we've been talking about the different kinds of scrap that we can bring, different kinds of commodities, whether it's copper or aluminum. So, we run a shredder here in East Tennessee in Morristown, and a lot of the steel that we buy comes in as heavy steel. It's too thick to go through the shredder.
The big toys.
It's from heavy equipment, farm equipment,
Yes.
you name it, forklifts, stuff that just can't go through the shredder. So what we thought we'd do today is share with you a little bit of what we do when we get that big steel, okay?
All right, this is where I started when I first come to work at this company. So I have a tender
It's home
spot.
to
I have
you.
a
It's a
tender
tender
spot
spot.
in my heart for that.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is where the torch guys, this is where we put fire to it and we make it into manageable pieces. And there is steel that comes up here. I remember cutting steel that thick.
Right.
And just a lot of stuff that won't come through the shredder, and it would come here, and I learned the trade here.
Right. So really we use a guide of about 1/4 inch thick. If it's over 1/4 inch, we really prefer to cut that steel versus throwing it through the shredder. And people say, well, why? What's the damage? The shredder can shred anything. Well, not exactly true.
No.
It's not designed for really thick steel.
I mean, yeah, there's really thick steel that
Right.
comes through here sometimes.
So when we buy the heavy steel, we call it, we still sell it to the same steel mills. It's just under a different label of prepared steel. Right?
Prepared. Or we use cut for our
Yeah,
slang
our
term.
slang word is
Yeah.
cut steel.
Yeah.
So again, we either torch it or we use a shear, which you can see there, the mobile shear. So this material behind us, it has all been cut or torched, and it's ready to go out to the steel mill.
And we've got to keep, in this area, there's like a 3-foot rule with it. To ship to these guys, they want it in 3-foot sections. So
Right.
we have that guideline to go by, which you use your torch, and it's a pretty good guideline.
Yep. But you can see in here, it's all clean material. We've got to cut all the hoses off of it. We've got to, we can't ship anything that's not pure steel.
Yeah.
Okay? And that's what this area is designed to do. So if you come over here, just to show you a little bit, this is called a counterweight, and it's off this forklift. This counterweight is what we call cast steel, and it is a different animal. It's very heavy. We have to either bust this cast or sell it as is, one of the two. Most of the time we sell it as is, which is a lot lower price, okay? But yes, you can see this other forklift, we've turned it over, we've got to get those wheels cut off. It's a lot of work to prepare this steel, which is why we pay a lower price for it, because it's more labor intensive to get it prepared to the steel mill.
A lot of this scrap too is more industrial scrap than your, say, out of your home,
Right.
just a regular Joe kind of scrap.
Correct.
We get a lot of companies swap over, machines, robots, what have you, and this be a good guess where that would first come through.
Right. Now, while we're in this topic of heavy steel, I want to share with you things that came in today that we don't like to accept. And these are pressurized tanks, okay? Very, very dangerous, very hazardous to us. So we've got to basically pay companies to come get those things and get rid of them. We don't want them, so if you come to a scrapyard with these tanks, 99% of them will reject them, okay? These were snuck in loads, and we've got to pay to get rid of those things. So
Very dangerous.
very, very dangerous. So
very.
come on over here. We're going to show you a little bit of what we're doing with the torching. So These are truck axles that have been laid out for these guys to start torching. They're on their break right now, but they will start torching these things, cutting up in 3-foot sections, just like Kip said. Now we're still looking at the heavy steel, and this is a big piece that's been cut up here. You can see it's still hot, and if you notice, everything here is gravel. It's not going to catch on fire, so we have a huge hazard here for fire. It's our #1 hazard. So we're very protective of our people, our employees, and our customers. We have fire hoses and all that stuff in this area. You can see we're loading out now another load of prepared steel over here as we speak. Hopefully it's not too loud on the video. But I wanted to give you guys just a little bit of example when you bring in stuff, why we pay less, because it takes a lot more work.
Yeah, there's another process there. So yeah, we had to pay just a little bit less.
These guys are trained in hot environments. This area in the summertime is extremely hot.
Great in the winter though. It's great in the winter.
Yeah, it's not bad in the wintertime, but in the summertime, these guys have to be very careful not to get overheated. So
there's another example of just how big steel can get, you know. It's
right, so you can see that's 4 inches thick. That will never go through the shredder there, but hopefully you've learned something today about heavy steel, cut steel. Thank you for joining us this week on Scrap Talk. Remember, like us, follow us, subscribe to us. We're on all platforms. Thanks again.